Hello my friends, back on Total War Warhammer 2 with the Rise of the Tomb Kings, playing against Turin again as he controls the Dark Elves of Nehekhara. This time, I'm playing with the Skelly Boys myself with Tomb Strike. Very nice buff on a Khemrian War Sphinx, if a little redundant because they already cause terror, and Reanimate for plus 16 leadership and an AoE. We've even got the Scorpion Armor, which I think is a must pick for a Tomb King. Grants a 22% ward save constantly once your hit points drop below 50%, which on a War Sphinx is absolutely insane, because that's on a high mass mobile unit that already has 110 armor and a huge health pool. That ward save can pay some huge dividends for sure. Nehekhara warriors in the front line, and 4 skeleton archers, including the Blessed Legion. So I actually have a pretty powerful skirmish component, and with the legions that have armor sundering, they can put the hurt on pretty much anything they're shooting at, whether that be Cold One Knights or whether that be Hargoneth Executioners. I also have a Lore of Deathcaster with Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech. Pretty powerful combination of damage spells there. Good versus enemy generals, and good versus high value infantry or cav. And out on my flanks and in my back lines, we've got some Necropolis Knights with Halberds, the newest addition to the Monstrous Cavalry category. Similar in function to Demigryphs, but a bit slower and with poison attacks. So some extra utility there and a lot of mass. So they're great for stopping huge lords or monsters from stomping through your back lines. Across the way, Turin is rocking with the Dark Elves. Malekith on a Cold One with Soul Stealer and Chillwind, and some Cold One Knights in the shadow of the pyramids alongside some Dark Riders. So lots of mobility on the field for the Druki. And let's take a look at this beautiful, haunting atmosphere, the scenery for a second. Those pyramids and that statue are a pretty nice touch for sure. Black Ark Corsairs in the front lines cost 50 more gold now, which seems reasonable. I mean, they're still going to be like an auto included in every army. And of course, a unit of Hargoneth Executioners, an absolute nightmare for Tomb King's infantry to deal with. Flanked by some Bleak Swords out on each side, Blackguard and Nagaron in the back, and some Dread Spears, Black Ark Corsairs with hand bows as well. We do have some options for dealing with the Hargoneth Executioners: Armor Sundering Arrows and Fate of Buna. And under Withering Skirmish Fire and the Curse of the Unsmiling Warrior, those Executioners may not have a very good time to start this match as Black Ark Corsairs slam into the front of my Nehekhara warriors. They should win that fight relatively easily. Tomb Scorpion springing its attack up the center here, bisecting a bunch of Black Ark Corsairs with those vicious claws. And look at those Executioners, man. They are melting, laughing themselves to death under that combination. Khemrian War Sphinx bounding through the lines as it's wont to do. I mean, it really just has so much mass. It can pretty much go wherever it wants, whenever it wants, and almost instantly, those Hargoneth Executioners will break. And that's a big blow to the Dark Elves early on in this match. But cavalry out on the flank, Dark Riders being run down by Nehekhara Horsemen. Out on this side, the Necropolis Knights charging forward into some Dread Spears and Bleak Swords with the Witch Elves there. Very dangerous there because they could rampage, and then I'd lose complete control of them. Soul Stealer going down from Malekith, and that should do some decent damage from the Necropolis Knights who are holding down the flank here. Their poison will debuff a lot of these units, but they have to be very careful around that Madness of Cain as the Tomb Scorpion holds the line here, helps his Nehekhara warriors, keeps them in the fight a little bit longer, but they're going to break very soon. And in the center, as expected, Dark Elves are probably going to win the infantry fight pretty easily. But Necropolis Knights charging in now into the flank of the Cold Ones, and with the Khemrian War Sphinx supporting, and all that Armor Sundering Arrow Fire coming in as well as Murderous Prowess pops, those Cold One Knights are getting smashed, breath weapons going off and tearing them asunder. Things are escalating very, very quickly as Turin looks to overload the left flank. They're breaking through now and look to be able to get into the Skeleton Archers if they can close the gap. Witch Elves are faster than Archer units are, so they should be able to get in there. All of the archers right now seem to be focused firing down the Black Ark Corsairs with hand bows, but there are 2 groups of archers and they will be able to fire in, do a lot of damage from range, and basically have their pick of the litter in terms of targets. Nice Chillwind from Malekith, ripping through the flank of some of the Skeleton Archers. Khemrian War Sphinx and the Tomb Scorpion coming over to reinforce and stopping that aggression over on Turin's left flank as they try to push through and get at the archers. Infantry pretty much dead for the Tomb Kings. A lot of them are dead anyway, as some of the Necropolis Knights start dying. But the Tomb Scorpion and Khemrian War Sphinx are so tanky, they'll be able to hold down this flank for quite a while the other side gets cleaned up. Some Bleak Swords over there. Malekith is still looking. I said Malice Darkblade. I really want Malice Darkblade. Can we please have him, CA, please? Can we get him soon enough? Malekith doing what he does best, basically casting a lot, supporting his troops, getting in melee with the Cold Ones as the Bleak Swords attempt to run down some of those Skeleton Archers in the back. Black Ark Corsairs came back from the other flank but they got rear charged by Nehekhara warriors, and as Realm of Souls goes into tier 2 here, they're going to get some nice health regen, and they might be able to finish off those Corsairs as they get feared and run from the battlefield. Malekith running away on his Cold One. Khemrian War Sphinx bounding after him with that boundless energy. Gets an attack off, actually, and freezes him in place for a minute here. Should be able to pull away. The War Sphinx has taken a lot of health, but now that ward save will be constant. 22%. So good. When you've got 3,700 health left or below, you're going to be getting that 22% damage mitigation against everything, whether it be magic, whether it be against physical damage, doesn't matter. You're going to be getting all that, and it is super good. Scorpion armor is amazing. And the Scorpion itself, Tomb Scorpion here, oh my god, just eviscerating some unfortunate Witch Elf, pulled into the ground, buried beneath the sands, and it pops right out like, hey guys, what's going on? Just chilling. Just killing some Witch Elves, you know? It's gonna rampage here as the Madness of Cain hits it, but that is an amazing animation. Probably the best one of any unit in the Tomb Kings DLC. Really cool to see that one in action. But as the battle progresses here, we're into tier 3 with Realm of Souls, which means that Nushabti could be forthcoming relatively soon, if I haven't already missed it. Man, it's just some brutal attack animations from the Scorpion right now. Might go down soon, though, getting shots in. And the Witch Elves and Black Ark Corsairs surrounding it. The Necropolis Knight still on the field as the Dark Riders pour in some fire with that AP repeater crossbow shooting. Malekith pulls away, and the Turin is going to look to basically just reset the situation here. Ushabti were summoned pretty much on their last legs now, actually, as some more Bleak Swords look to come in, taking a lot of fire from the Skeleton Archers, who have done a ton of damage this game. They've been a great pick. And really just the focus fire from them has been able to tear through the Dark Elf armor. Not that Bleak Swords are the most tanky of all units, but man, with the Khemrian War Sphinx charging in from behind, I don't think they're going to want to come back to this fight anytime soon. Argonath Executioners as well, probably going to be terror routed for the last time there. And lots of Turin's army is in disarray. To be fair, Tomb King's army is pretty beaten up as well. That Khemrian War Sphinx is looking a little bit worse for the wear. About a third of its health left, maybe a fourth. And just a few skeleton archers. Not a whole lot left on either side. Nehekhara warriors with a third of their health. And that's pretty much it. Now, the High Priest of the Lore of Nehekhara, the Lich Priest rather, still around. I said Lore of Nehekhara, it's the Lore of Death. Still around. Might be able to cast one more Fate of Buna or one more Spirit Leech, which could be nice. And as the Dark Elves start moving forward over the corpses of their fallen friends and foes, under fire from withering skirmish fire from range, those Black Ark Corsairs, even with the Sea Dragon Cloak, that passive resistance against missile fire, just not going to be enough as more Bleak Swords move up, and Malekith looks to charge forward on his Cold One into the teeth of the Nehekhara warriors. And he'll be able to slash around with Destroyer, no problem. He'll mash them up with the Cold One and its tail and the heavy armor. But he did just get Spirit Leeched, and he is really the anchor of the Dark Elf line. If he routs, if he goes bye-bye, so will the Druchii army. There are some Blackguard of Nagaron left, though. They could be a problem for that Khemrian War Sphinx, but they have so few models left, and they're taking some more shots. If the War Sphinx decides to charge forward, yeah, there's a handful of models, 3 or 4 of them, and they're gone. Killed by the Nehekhara warriors now. So let's take stock of what's left. Not much, maybe a volley or 2 left on the skeleton archers here. A handful of Nehekhara warriors. There is the Lich Priest still left, and the Khemrian War Sphinx with slivers of health. But could Malekith actually deal with it in melee? That is the question. Does he have? How much mana does he have? If he could get another Soul Stealer off, that could be huge. He is charging forward, turning away, and glitching out like crazy. That was ugly as hell. I don't know what that was. That was weird looking. But this is a big fight. This is going to decide the battle. If the Tomb King goes down, this battle is over, but the Dark Riders are taking a ton of fire here. They're going to run. They might come back, though. Malekith deciding to rethink the engagement. He can smash that Lich Priest in a couple attacks. But War Sphinx with a 22% ward save is something a little bit different there. And he's getting hit hard. And at this point, with the Cold One dealing with a giant leonine statue in melee, made of stone, breathing noxious fumes or whatever the hell is coming out of its mouth, I don't know if he's going to have enough power to deal with it. Yes, he is the Chosen One. Yes, he might be the Chosen of Azurian and some people's least favorite lore addition ever. But it's not going to be enough here. Balance bar shifting heavily in the Tomb King's favor. And Malekith the true Phoenix King, or so he'd have you believe, will run from the field, and that will be the game. But could have easily gone the other way. If the Tomb King had died there, for sure crumbling would have set in. I don't think the Dark Elves would have pulled that one out. He needed just a couple more attacks in, honestly, and the whole battle could have changed. Tomb King on a War Sphinx, definitely very good. The Blessed Legion, of course, armor sundering, minus 32 armor. Pretty hard to pass up. And I was actually pretty surprised at how well the Nehekharan warriors did in the melee fight. I mean, one of them got over 100 kills. That's pretty impressive. I mean, yeah, some of it was against bleak swords and stuff, which they can obviously match up against, but I thought that was interesting. Now, I do want to talk about death magic for a second, because I feel like it might be a little bit overbearing. I think they need to do something to make Fate of Buna more interesting than just, like, point, click, and delete, or at the very least make it not completely eviscerate cavalry, which didn't really play a role in this game, because the only units I Fate of Buna were the Blackguard of Nagaron and the Hargoneth Executioners. But as it stands, I feel like Fate of Buna kind of nullifies the importance of elite cavalry, like Cold One Knights, like Dragon Princes, like Chaos Knights, and elite heavy cavalry just so happens to be my favorite unit type across all Total Wars, so being able to render them almost completely useless with a single cast just kind of feels a little bit too much. I mean, it's just too good to pass up a lot of the time, and regrowth is pretty much the only counterplay to it, besides just holding on to your cavalry way off in the back until a late game when hopefully they've run out of mana. And if I know that my most expensive unit will melt when my opponent has Lore of Death, then I'm just not going to bring that unit type. So, I don't know. I feel like it would be nice if there was a little bit more counterplay to Fate of Buna, and some ways to kind of counteract how much damage it does to cavalry. But you saw in that game, it's really good against infantry too. And it's just not a very, like, it's a good spell, it's a great spell, but there's not a whole lot of interesting mechanics behind it. You know, you just kind of click it and then point, click, and delete. I don't know. I don't think it's wildly OP or anything, but it is maybe a little bit overbearing. It's hard to pass up going Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech, because as soon as you have leftover Winds of Magic from stuff after Fate of Buna, then you just start sniping enemy lords and heroes with Spirit Leech, and it's just a really powerful combination. So, I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think about it overall. I don't think it was the only reason I won that game. I think that the Necropolis Knights actually did a very good job anchoring my flank. Khemrian War Sphinx up the center did really well, and the Archer Fire, the Focus Fire on all his important units was really helpful as well. But yeah. So that's the second game of my Tomb Kings multiplayer experience. Got a lot more coming, a lot more matches coming with Turin. Definitely worth checking out. So hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Indie Pride, signing out for now.